Welcome to the daily conversation for the trades. I am your host, Christene Marie. Y'all, I'm excited for this conversation today because it is absolutely critical. We are going to be talking about personal brands and why contractors specifically need to build them, create them, foster them. And, there's something around first understanding what even is a personal brand. So I want to start with definition of terms because this is probably one of the most important things we can do as we head into 2026. And we're already, I guess, oh my gosh, we're going to be at the end. I'm looking over here at March 16th, which is crazy. But as we're really heading into the rest of the year, especially in an age where the technology is shifting and changing faster than we can keep up with it. We don't know where we're going to end up at the end of this year from a technological perspective, from an AI, automation, artificial intelligence perspective. We're seeing more and more fake content online than we've ever seen before. And it's not just, fake news, but it's fake content where it's created by an AI agent pretending to be that person. It looks real, sounds real, acts real. And so authenticity has actually never been more of an asset than ever before. And it's also been, it's becoming more of, it's becoming more rare. So therefore it has anything precious, anything rare has a higher price point and a higher value assigned to it. So the more you and I are actually learning how to leverage our unique voice and authentic digital, our authenticity across digital platforms, the better. Here's the thing, the consumer has changed. Over the last 40, 50, 60 years, the consumer has changed drastically from those of our parents to those who are now scrolling. We're not talking even about Gen X, we're talking about millennials. We're talking also about boomers who are using the phone more often than ever before, and they're scrolling. I'm actually learning more and more people who are older than me on TikTok. I don't have it on my phone because I'm afraid I'll get addicted to it. And there's a lot more consumers who are going out there looking for something to connect with on an emotional level. People make purchase decisions off of their emotions. Harvard found that 95% of our purchase decisions take place in the subconscious, which is where our emotions live. So we need to be mindful about the emotions of the consumer as we're considering our personal brand. People want to do business with people. We see this from a business to business perspective drastically. That's why there's so much networking for business to business type of audiences. But even for businesses that have a consumer facing service, they're still watching. They're still paying attention. They're actually online just as much as those B2B folks are. So whether your audience is business to business, your customers are other businesses, or your customers are human beings, homeowners, every single LinkedIn user is a homeowner. Every single LinkedIn user has an association with a business. So your audience, your target audience is on LinkedIn. And also, if you're thinking at all in the future about exit or even just scaling through partnerships or acquisitions, 40% of all LinkedIn users are millionaires. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. So we need to be present where our audience is, and we also need to be present with where our potential audience is. This is where you knowing where you're going for your business is of paramount importance. Start playing in those areas and in those sandboxes now. Start networking with those people. Start building relationships and conversations. A couple weeks ago, I had a conversation with a gentleman named Bennett Lebowitz, and he is the president of Pando Consulting. And what they do is they advise companies on how to prepare for exit. What he told me in that conversation is that 70 to 80% of companies that go to exit do not ever end up selling the business because the competition is so high and so many businesses are so underprepared. And even when they are prepared, there's not a ton of buyers out there. And so you and I doing the work to not just get our businesses exit ready, but to get ourselves exit ready or to get ourselves prepared for that next level of growth. And so when I'm talking about personal brand, yes, it's like going back to, okay, what's the definition of terms here? The personal brand is, yes, what shows up online. but that is the external manifestation of the internal work that you have done to establish your values, to cultivate your own mind, your own intelligence, and intellectually, emotionally. How do you show up with your leaders? How do you show up with your employees? How do you show up with your family? All of that constitutes what shows up on a LinkedIn profile. It's like the 2% of your life shows up there. And so what we're talking about here is you already have a personal brand. And so taking the time to really cultivate who you are is effectively cultivating your personal brand, because everyone has a thought or an opinion about you. And that's kind of what a strong brand is. The strong brand is the perception, the expectation that somebody has about their experience with you and what that's going to be like. So everyone in your life already has a perception or an understanding around what the experience of engaging with you is. And then the question is, if we want to grow and strengthen that on a digital side, you actually taking the time to create content helps for kind of the overflow and the outpouring of everything that's inside of you. Today, just this morning, I was talking to an individual who is a successful, very successful business owner. He's got a B2C company, a B2B company. He successfully exited one of them. And, I can only imagine it was a $40 million company at the time. Now it's already up to 75 million, probably more. But the way that he is now building his brand, he only has a couple hundred followers on LinkedIn. So what he's now trying to do retroactively is effectively prepare for what could have been done years ago to grow the followers and start engaging with people and really showing up from a place of service. And so now it's so good that he's doing it now, because here's the thing. He's got so much value to give. So much value. He's been through so many incredible experiences, brought so much leadership to his team, to the companies now that he's acquiring. He's really coming in and disrupting the industry because of his style and method of leadership. So now he's starting to talk about it. But I can only imagine if he had the social profile and the presence and the following from building it up a couple years ago, how much more impact could he be having now? And the goal is impact. That is the goal. It's not about building you up, making you look good. And I know that some people want that. So that's, if that's your why, fine. I couldn't post with integrity with that being my why. I didn't want to. I grew up embedded in the scripture of pride goes before the fall. And so for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I never want to be in the spotlight. But when we have the reframe, one, recognizing that by posting, we are delivering value. We are actually being servant leaders. We're serving and leading at the same time by posting the things that have changed our lives, that have changed the way we're running companies, that has brought so much success for our teams, for the presidents that we're now mentoring. The more we are stepping into the limelight, the more we now have the propensity to make a value offer, to bring impact at scale versus the one-to-one dynamic. And the one-to-one dynamic is so important. Do not get me wrong. We need that. And actually, the more that we're writing in a one-to-one type of approach, the better, because it's more personal. So as we're thinking about your personal brand, one, you already have one. Again, every single thing that you're doing in terms of cultivating your mind, cultivating your intelligence, your emotional intelligence, the more you're going inward to do the work, to be a better leader, to be a better father, mentor, friend, husband, the more we're doing the work to cultivate those roles in our lives, the more we're building our personal brand. And then again, the external manifestation of that is engaging in mentorship groups, in coaching programs, in posting on social media. Posting on social media is just a ramification of the work you have done. It's a result. It's a byproduct. The goal of you doing the work is not about the social gains. However, if you want to extend and impact beyond just your current sphere of influence, I cannot encourage you more highly. And going back to this whole conversation around AI, your brand is your greatest asset. It truly, truly, truly is. The more you are actually able to spend the time to think about, okay, these are my values internally, right? Internally, these are my values. These are my guiding principles. These are the guardrails and boundaries that have really safeguarded me on the journey to create an incredible business. Now, let me share that. Let me offer that. Let me serve and give. The more you do the external manifestation of what's internal, the more you're able to attract the right people to you, attract the right partners, attract the right employees, potentially attract new opportunities that you've never even thought of. Because again, people are watching, people are listening, people need you. People need what you have, people need what you've cultivated. You spent some 30 to 60 years cultivating yourself. And being able to share that allows for you to maximize on the opportunities that you may not even know about, such as selling, such as scaling, such as building new partnerships with people, or even starting new businesses that you've never thought of. So with you being faithful to do the internal work, but then also do the external reflection of that inner work of this is what's worked internally in myself, this is what worked internally in my business, this is what has worked internally with my family. This is how I have led well and engaged with my kids. This is how I maintain a good relationship with them. Y'all, the world is broken. It's also beautiful, and we need each other more than ever before because the quality of content has significantly diminished with the rise of AI. So the more we're actually able to see each other, hear from each other's hearts, the more we're really able to make the impact that we want to make. And y'all, it's for the sake of your legacy. May we never forget that it is for the sake of what is coming after us. And we build our legacy one day at a time, every decision at a time. We are now investing in something that will hopefully outlive us. And either way, it will outlive us. You know, we're touching lives every day. The question is, what is the quality of the impact you're making? And are you doing it with intention? So when it comes to social media, it warrants and deserves a respect because of the influence and impact that it does have on people's lives. I was talking with someone last night. They said, you know, I was engaging with a friend and I came back around about 6 months later and I was like, wow, like you have changed so much. What's happened? We got in their car, their TikTok started playing, and that's how I realized how much they changed. Y'all, people are so impacted by what they consume. And so are we going to be creators making change, creators making influence? There's so much that you've done in your business that others need to hear from, others need to learn from. And a lot of times, I mean, even just as I was talking with this gentleman this morning, you know, executive of a very, very successful B2B, and I mean, he's got a couple companies, but B2B and B2C in the construction industries, he's got so much to give, so much to offer. And by way of us just talking and me asking him questions, he lit up and he was like, oh yeah, like I actually do a Bible study every week for entrepreneurs and CEOs. Oh yeah, I actually do these one-off leadership meetings with every single leader in all of my companies. And that's a lot of people. And so he's giving so much wisdom away. So really what social media does is that it just takes the same thing you're already doing and just amplifies it. And isn't that such a relief? Even as I say that, I'm like, oh, it's a relief for me because social media is always this thing hanging over me. It's so much easier for me to do it for other people than it is for myself. Isn't that how it always is? Y'all, make the time, create the time. If you need help, get somebody to help you. You have so much to give. And this is about your legacy, and your brand is the greatest asset in your life. Your home can be taken from you unless you own it outright and you own the land outright. Your car, if you're leasing it, how much do you actually own in your life? You own you at the end of the day. And really think about that. Even your kids, they're going to grow up and leave if they haven't already. Yo, we are responsible for ourselves. That is radical responsibility. And then to activate agency on the other side of going inward, doing the work, taking that, building it and instilling it in our businesses, permeating our business and our culture with as much of the change and impact that we can. Now, when we actually activate our personal brand online, man, is there so much opportunity for change, for impact, for scale at scale, and not just for impact in that way, but also for potential partnerships. So let me know if you have any questions. Guys, this is a really, really important conversation, your personal brand. And tomorrow we'll talk about how to actually build your personal brand. But just understanding, what is it? Why do I need it? And recognizing you already have it. Through every cultivation of yourself thus far, you have been building your personal brand. So with that, thank you all so much for joining. Kyle, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Y'all have a wonderful day. I will talk to you tomorrow on our daily conversations for the trades. Thanks for joining. And again, my name's Christene Marie. Let me know if you ever need support on the branding marketing side for your trades business. But otherwise, I'm so grateful to join you every single day, weekday, that is, because it is for folks like my dad who are fourth generation of family painting business, or he's third generation, I'm fourth generation. It's for people like him that we go live, because how often are we actually getting invested into when we're in the trenches? So this is my way of serving and giving, and I want to hear from you guys and know what's going on in your lives and what and how we can do better to tailor these conversations in addition to bringing guests on. So with that, thank you for joining. Have a wonderful day.